Good evening, everybody. Actually, I should say good morning. I think we're past the midnight hour. DJ Styles here at Custom Corpses. I have already started fixing the sculpture and moving on to the 2018 or H40, as you know it. I'm going to start sculpting this in, but I still have to repair it. I have both ears to do yet. I still have work to do on the nose. I fixed a lot of the nose problem that was all damaged. I'm also working underneath of the lip there. That got destroyed. If you look at the old video, you'd see just how much damage was done. It's really just not that hard to do. I fixed the eyebrow that was ripped on this side here. It was ripped away a little bit. But I'm going to show you my process. I'm hoping that I'm not interfering with your line of sight on the sculpture as I'm working on it, because I'm actually going to be in front of the camera, trying to hide my big body and still keep it. I'm trying to see if I can put it on a better angle. There you go. That's a little better. Let me zoom out just a little bit. I don't really need to see the top of the head right now because I'm not working on the top of the head yet. I have to clean that up. But I started working on this right away because, you know, I want to get all three of these masks done. I have the 78 molded now, and I'm going to get this 2018 version done, and then I'm going to go right into the Halloween Kills where it's all burnt and have to get it done right. So if I don't get moving on this thing, I want to try and actually have all three of these masks in production for Halloween. For the entire month of October, it should be in production, all three of these masks. So wish me luck. Here we go. Let's get started here. Sorry, I'm blocking the camera right now, but I'm going to sit in my chair so I can be nice and cozy. All right, so right here, hopefully my shoulder's not in the way. All this was ripped out, and so was this side. This was ripped out. I've actually put clay back up underneath of this. I've reshaped it a little bit, bringing it into what it was. The nose was ripped out right here on both sides. This lip was literally torn down. I took off everything that was on there and then reapplied some clay and started shaping that again to bring it into what it was. The eyebrow, this got ripped right here, just ripped out forward. So I put that back on, and then I still have to put the details back in that. And the ears, I'm going to do a separate tutorial on these ears, because if you look at that now, you can see it was raked here. The ear hole and this, where the needle went into his neck in the mask, they are deep into the actual sculpture. So it ripped it forward. Everything got ripped forward. It's not that hard of a repair. This bottom of this ear here, that's really pulled forward because it is what it is. But whenever you're demolding, you're going to get damage no matter what you do, because there's always going to be, they call this lock spot, locking points. An ear hole, the ears are always going to cause locking. All right. The main concern I had was making sure I didn't have any locking in this area, and I wanted to make sure I was centered when I put my dividing wall up over this thing. I wanted to make sure that it started to taper this way and it started to taper that way. You have to find that high spot. The highest point is where your dividing line is when you're making a seam. All right, same thing with the head. Hopefully you can see that. Let me see if I can. All right, this was the high spot. This, in other words, it was sloping down from here and down from there. So with the dividing wall being exactly right there, the mold, when it came off, nothing was locking it. It popped right off with no problem. The front, the ears were holding it, and like I showed you in that video, as I tapped it forward and raked that ear off, and I knew once this ear hole piece of concrete, or or plaster, once that ripped through, and the catch under the earlobe, once that ripped through, it was just going to pop right off, and it did. The next phase, my plan is to definitely have somebody help me hold this as I'm tapping it forward so it doesn't rake the face too much, because the next mask is the 2018 version, and that's going to have a lot more detail. That's going to have a lot of cracks and stuff in the face, and I really don't want to damage that too much, because if that gets damaged a lot, it's just a lot of work to repair. And I'm not into spending too many hours on repairing. Now I got to dig out some plaster that's still inside these little hairlines. I just got a little bit of work to do. But I'm going to make this a separate tutorial. I'm going to show you how I clean off all this leftover, I would say, powdered stone that's still on the clay. But that's no big deal. That comes right off, and I just going to clean the clay up real nice and make it nice the way it was. Now you can see, like, I've already started packing in, because with the shadowing you could probably see this on the nose, where you can see the little ripples and the bumps where I've added the clay to bring it back up to where it was. And then I'm going to smooth this all out so it looks really nice. I'm going to bring it back to what it was, and it's a ways off. So I probably have a good couple of days of work to do on this to really make it nice. I want to bring it back into where it was. Now this here, to fix this, because it raked it forward here, where the needle point is, I'm just going to put a little clay in there. Boom, pop a little clay in there, and then reshape it back to what it was. It's like that simple. It's not real hard to fix these kind of this kind of damage, and I'll show you what I mean here. Now see, I'm blocking this light. That's not helping. Hold on. Let me see if I can get a better. Yeah, see, I am blocking that light. Let me see if I can change the light angle. Well, I'm going to change this probably a little bit. You can see that. You see how it ripped it forward here? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this in here like that. I don't need to fill the whole hole. I don't want to do that. I just want to fix what was actually ripped forward. And then just pull this down, smooth it in a little bit. Now I don't mind this little lump here. Now what I need to do is take my little scout. I don't even know what you want to call that tool. I just like it because it really gives me my see, when I cut this up and I really push this, make it look like a needle actually went into his throat. Now the 2018 version here, this really gets a lot more attention. All right, so that's semi-repaired right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push. I don't know if I want to use this. This is too big. All right, so I need something. What can I use that's narrow enough just to take out a little bit of the center? Yeah, that'll work. Just push it in a little bit. You know, because real latex, if you were to stab a latex mask, it wouldn't even leave a mark. You would, if I stuck a needle even as fat as that through there, it would break through it, and when you pulled it back out, it would literally seem like it looked like it disappeared. And maybe unless the mask was real old or something and a little stiffer, maybe then it wouldn't do it. But that's how we repair. Now what I want to do is I'm going to rake the area where I deformed it a little bit, where I added that clay. Then I'll go over it once again. All right. Make sure that the clay is in there. That's the most important part. All right. Now I'll do it again to make sure that I have all my marks where I want them. This little feature here on this mask really is actually a very cool. That's done. That's fixed. Boom. Just like that. All done. The only thing I have to do there is put a little naphtha on that to give it a little smoother texture, you know, but I'm not here to work on. But now I've got this thing turned so I can actually see and hear to actually scrape this and fix this nose. I'm trying to do this left-handed. Not a good idea. I'm a righty. I'm a righty. I gotta have my right working for me here. I'm sure my elbow's right in the view of what I'm doing here. So you see this little ripple here. You remember, you don't want to take out too much. You're not trying to reshape that nose. You're just trying to take out the little imperfections. And I'm going to do it with this because I got a loop tool here. Well, that's right. You're zoomed in. I got a loop tool here, and this will help me get this back to normal. It'll put little lines on it, but nothing real massive that naphtha won't take care of, as long as I don't dig in too far. Okay. Now this here has to be done right. This is how we sculpt. We work with crumbs of clay, crumbs of clay, crumbs of clay. When you're trying to get to the finish line, as you get very close to your finished sculpture, you're literally moving around crumbs of clay. You're not really shaping large portions of clay. You know, it's just it's a very tedious process to make this look really good. I love this though. It's so relaxing. It really is. Sculpting is my favorite part of the whole thing, but the most tedious part. You have to have patience, and patience is, goes for anything that you do in life, you know. But your biggest thing is find your passion, because passion is what keeps you going. It will keep you working in whatever field you choose. Find a passion and stick with it. That's another thing. A lot of people give up on things too easy. You don't do that, man. You really don't know what you like until you really, really, you know, spend some time and learn the techniques and learn different things and try it. Some people know right away. I mean, I didn't know I was going to become a DJ or any of that. That was the furthest thing from my mind. I just liked all the girls when I was young, you know what I mean? But then I really had a passion for music. I gotta say, I've had a passion for music ever since I was a little tiny kid. And that's really what got me into DJing in the first place. I just loved all kinds of music. Yes, sir. And see, I'm seeing, like, I'm blocking your view, but you can see all these little imperfections here. My thing is, I want to get this back to what it was before I move forward and make this into the 2018. I wanted to try to get it back to exactly what I had originally sculpted. All right, my hand's going to block this view here. I'm hoping not, but I need this thing to be on this angle to straighten this out. I want to try and get this back to what it was and then move forward. It has to go back, because I'm trying to replicate my mask, all three versions, and it's going to be from this original sculpture right here. A clump of clay there that somehow got there. Yeah, it's a tedious, you know, work when you're done with this stuff. Oh yeah. Now I'm noticing, like, in here, I gotta get a better view. I also need a picture of a still shot. I need a still shot of my sculpture for the lip, because I didn't work on the lip many times, so I want to make sure that I have the original shape back to what it was, as close as possible. So what's nice about doing that aging effect, to the sculpture, is that you don't have to have it literally perfectly back to the original shape, because you can account for things being deformed a little bit due to the aging. So there's a little ripple in here that's driving me nuts. I thought I could get it out. I gotta turn it to do it. Maybe it's not there. Maybe it's just an illusion. No, it's there. Yeah, I've had people actually think that I copied somebody's work, or, you know, or I guess make a literally made a plaster mold of somebody else's mask. No, I did this sculpture right from scratch. This is my sculpture, and I would never do something like that. If I had to do, I could see, honestly, I could see it if you were just, like, I have a mask from Knife Wielder. Actually from Ezra from Knife Wielder Productions. And I got it way back in 2001. Now, I don't think that mask is in production anymore, and I can't find it. Now, my thing is I'm not copying it to sell it. I'm going to copy it for myself. I'm going to make a mold of it because I love the mask. I always did. Ezra was an amazing artist. If you ever see my YouTube video on this and you wonder what I've done, I'm basically going to recast that mask. I'm going to foam fill it. And it's a thick pour. He gave me a thick pour, so I'm really blessed to have it as a thick pour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to recast it in plaster and then make a fresh copy for myself, not for resale. I would never do that to somebody. That's his work. But I want to maintain, because it's starting to age. It's over 20 years old now, that mask, and I want to keep it. I love that mask. But I'll have to do the work to it now, which is kind of like, maybe if I can find Ezra somehow, some way, and I send off the mask to him and let him do the paint work and everything, so at least it's his work. That would be a great thing, but you know, I gotta look him up, see if I can get a hold of him. I gotta see if I can get a hold of him. I hope I can. You know, it's the thing about this business. You know, you got independent mask makers that, you know, sometimes stop doing it. You know, they do it for a while and they get tired of it and move on to other projects, or completely leave the business completely, you know. So, you know, don't know what their reasons are. That's their business. But nothing's forever, and this is why it's important when you collectors out there, you see something that you really, really like, man, you better get it, because we don't do this for long. You know, we don't put these masks in production for a very long time, maybe a couple years. Some a little longer than others, but I'm almost 60 years old. I don't plan on doing this. I want to kind of do it for my retirement years, but I'm tackling this in all angles. I'm actually trying to create videos for YouTube, how-to videos, and try to grow my channel, so that's somewhat of an income. And also produce, you know, a couple masks a year, and that's what I want to do. I'm gonna make my income. I don't know if I want to keep going forward with this. I think I want to get the picture of my sculpture, my first sculpture first, before I move forward with this lip. I want to make sure this lip's right. But let me work on the deformities on the nose, which I can see in plain sight here. So I move a whole bunch of clay there. You know, when that raked the nose, when I pulled it down, it really didn't move that much clay. It looked worse than it actually was. There wasn't too much clay pulled off that nose. It looked, like I said, it looked worse than it really was. Once I got into shaping it again, I could tell exactly where the clay was removed, and it was literally, a very small amount, like right there, was pulled forward and made it look like the whole thing was landsliding. I was like, wow, that was an illusion. That was a crazy illusion. Yeah, so now the one thing about removing clay as you're sculpting, and this is what I find with this, when you're removing the clay, try not to remove it in just one direction. You got to remove it in every direction, crisscross it, because you don't want any kind of like one wear spot where it makes it hard to, like, see, I'm going back this way now. I'm trying to really keep the original integrity of the shape, in which is rounded. I need more light on this subject over here. I feel like there's a little bit of a missing spot in here. I don't know. It's just, it might be just an illusion with the light. Lighting really can throw your sculpture off. It really can if you don't have lighting perfect. You really want good lighting. You know, I have a lot of down lighting on this, which is good to find, you know, to make sure your shapes are right for shadowing. Like this area here, this is puffed out way too much. Okie dokie, so here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. That's literally really coming out too much. I have to really kind of really pull that down. I added a lot of clay on the lip because it was literally, there was quite a bit of lip pulled out of there. That lip was really pulled down significantly. See, from this angle I can actually see it really well. So that's the other thing, is you want to look at things at all different angles, because it can really be deceptive. And all of a sudden you cast the mask and you see something, what the hell? You're looking at it like, what the hell did I miss here? You know, it just can really mess you up. So really looking at things at all angles, and the more you do this, any mask, like say you're redoing these masks over and over again, the more I do this, the more I really have a general concept of exactly the shape. I don't actually have to even look at a picture. I'm so used to now getting used to the look of the lip, of what it's supposed to be, versus what I originally started doing. And looking good. Now see that? I just see this. Oh yeah, I pulled that down right. See, once you see the scrape marks right now, but naphtha is going to smooth that out real nice for me. You know what? I got to dig into here a little bit. Consistency is the key. It really is. You have to turn. There we go. We can see it better. Much better. Much better. We're getting back to what it was. Wow. I almost like this lip better than the original. The first one that I did. Wow. This one's turning out even better. Except for this one little spot right here. I got to add a little clay right here so there's a little bit more. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just push it up. That's it. There you go. Yeah. So there's this little divot. A lot of people don't realize it. See right here? Let me point it with a pointer. See right in here? There's a little bit of a divot right in here that come kind of noticeably. That's important to keep that there because it shows that the lip's kind of dropping down. I don't know how to explain it, but you know, that's what the original mask looked like. So and I'm just trying to bring it back to the way I had it. Smooth it out. See, when you smooth it out, you see how it gets glassy and you see all the imperfections. And then when you're really smooth, then you can come in and do the texturing so it mats it again so you can't see the imperfections. But you definitely want to make sure your shaping is all right. Your shaping has to be right. Here is casting the shadow that's driving me crazy. I'm having a hard time getting. There you go. I think I got it. What do you think, guys? You get the general idea. I'm sculpting it back to what it was. And then I'm going to start the aging process. Once I have it back to as close to the original, I haven't put my picture scene. I haven't done the still shot of this. I have the still shot, and I'm going to put it on my computer so I can look at it while I'm, trying to bring this back to exactly what it was. And once I do that, I'll have it back to its original condition before I molded it. And then what I want to do is definitely do the aging process. So we're going to have the H40, the H40. Well, let's see, and then from there I'm going to do Halloween Kills, and then Ends, depending on what they're doing with that. I have actually an absolute belief that they're going to try and go back to the original mask. Maybe in the storyline, there's a store that sells the mask, or it's in the, just like he got the mask the first time. He took the mask out of a Halloween shop. So, who knows? Maybe ready? You're going to love this. I love this angle. A collector, all right, let's just say, all right, let's pretend that Michael Myers is in the real world and he was a psycho killer that used this mask that became very famous. All right. And a guy like me decides he's going to replicate that mask that Michael used 40 years ago. So now he steals a mask, kills the guy that actually made the mask, kills the guy and steals his mask and uses the new mask in Halloween Ends. Hey, he takes it from a sculptor, a guy that wanted to make the original mask. I think that's cool. It's a great idea, but I know this movie has already been shot, so wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool for us mask makers to have one of our own killed off by Michael Myers to steal the mask that he produced, that he's custom made? Oh God! Only a true fan believes in stuff like that. All right, I gotta fix in here. This is where the work needs to be done now. All right, come on, Johnny boy, get to it. First, get these high spots down. Then worry about smoothing out. Like I said, I'm working with crumbs of clay, guys. Crumbs of clay, moving very little here. Moving very little clay. All right, I need the smaller one. Where did it go? Where are you? Keep pushing things around here. What the heck did I do with it? I know it's here. Maybe that is the small one. I think that is the small one. Yeah, it is. I'll be darned. Okay, so I gotta be... What I'm doing right now is I'm blending it back into the original clay line in here. I'm blending it back in, and I gotta scrape it into shape. And then the naphtha will do the rest. Getting there. Almost there already. It's crazy. It doesn't take much. Like I said, whenever you damage your sculpture, don't think it's the end of the world, because it really isn't that hard to bring it back to what it was. Your biggest thing is the big shapes. You know, your big shapes are your hard. To get that really refined is probably the hardest thing to do. You know, is getting your big shapes. And there's just this one little spot that I don't like. Got it. Got it. That was driving me a little nuts. All right, so. All right, that edge is a little too sharp. I need to refine that back a little bit. Not with that one, with this one. There we go. It takes that off of there. Now I can bring it in, so it's not so rigid. A little bumpy and lumpy in here. I gotta get that fixed. But it's hard because I don't have the lighting in the position. Yes, now we're getting somewhere. The eye cuts are so important with this mask. You mess up the eye cuts with this mask, you might as well just throw the mask away, because it's no good. It creates such a lot of people don't understand how important the eye cuts are on this particular mask. You can't just go in. You know, it's funny, I actually watched the original guy that did the original mask cut out the eye holes in one of the videos, and he was just nonchalantly cutting the eye holes, like, I'm just going to cut it, and he literally made them look like they were like diamonds on a playing card. You know what I mean? I was like, wait a minute, that's not what the original looked like. And I think he redeemed himself. He did go back and spend a little bit more time being a little more accurate with the cuts. On another video that I watched, I was like, yes. Was it Tommy Lee Wallace? It might have been Tommy Lee Wallace that did the eye cuts on the original mask. And most likely probably didn't even do it on purpose on the original eye cuts. I'll bet just the way he did that first video with, I forget who was interviewing. It was an interview, and they talked about what he did, how he how he painted the mask, how he haired the, you know, how he messed up the hair and painted it and cut the eye holes out, you know, and he kind of just really kind of ran through it. Well, I did this, and he just started cutting the eye hole out. And I mussed up the hair, and then he painted it and painted the face, and they did the whole process of taking, you know, it was a collector's mask. But when he cut the eyes, I was like, whoa, wow, that don't even look anything like the original. But then I'll bet that original mask was all done by accident. It was really all done on accident. It wasn't well thought out. The eye cuts weren't. I think the eye cuts got famous just by time, you know, of seeing that movie over and over again. And there was something very unique about the creepiness and the shape of those eyes and the way they looked. You know, I haven't been able to put my finger on it, but I know a lot of people have tried, and a lot of artists have been tackling this mask for quite a few years now, and some succeed and some don't. I'm hoping I succeed. I want to be one of those elite guys that, you know, put together a really good mask for you collectors out there. And it's not about the money as much for me, because at this age, you know, I've done well over the years in my other career. To me, it's about just putting something together that kind of leaves a calling card, you know, hey, this is what you know, or my kids, they said, my dad did this, and this mask is sold out by a lot of you collectors, especially after I'm dead and gone, you know. Maybe this thing lives on, and, you know, you guys fight to get a copy of this mask, you know. But it only gonna last 25 years or so anyway, because then that mask becomes obsolete. But then, where are the molds? All of a sudden, these molds are going to pop up somewhere, and somebody's going to have them. And then I wake up from my dream and my fantasy, and it never happens. But, you know, wouldn't that be cool, though? Imagine if you can write the way you want your life to go. You know, yeah. I don't, man, it's just so. Why doesn't that look right? It don't look right. All right, let me put a little bit of clay back on the spot right here. Wow, that worked. I surprise myself sometimes. It's that bulge that was driving me crazy. That bulged area. Yes, yes, that's what I'm talking about. See, the more you manipulate this clay and that your warmth in your hands soften it. This is a very hard base clay. There's 3 grades to this clay. This is monster clay. You've got soft, medium, and hard. I like the hard because one, it holds up. If somebody bangs it, a little bit of dent, you really can't. Like if I drop something off the shelf and I hit the back of the head, there's a little bit of a dent. It's not like it's going to be devastating and split the damn thing in half if I use a soft clay. So I know that accidents happen, and the bottom line is, over a period of 8 months of this thing being in here, things happen. I actually had a spray can that was sitting up here that fell off. It was the hair where my hair is over there. It was the hairspray that I use to style the hair, and it fell off and boom, right at the corner of the can, smacked the back of the head, and I had to fix that. So it's just, but the damage was minimal. So I mean, a lot of thought process. There was a lot of thought that went into me when I decided what type of clay, because this clay is not cheap. This clay is like $35 for 5 pounds, $40 for 5 pounds. And you may think that that's not that expensive, but I got to tell you, it takes 20 pounds of clay to sculpt this at the right size. It's about roughly 20 pounds of clay. You have to order 20 pounds because you're using about 18 of it. 18 pounds for the sculpture, but it doesn't come in 18 pounds. You don't just say, oh, I want 6.5 pounds of clay. No, it comes in little pails, and each pail is 5 pounds each. And you have to order at least 20 pounds to do a human head, and that's on a good armature. This is Ed, what do they call it? Ed Head 2.0. This can be filled with hot liquid to remove the clay. But I always thought, and this is something I want you guys to think about. When you're working with this type of clay, there's no reason to take the clay off, ever. I can leave this clay on. I have the shape of the head, all right? And if I want to make a zombie mask, all I just have to do is change the eyes. I can change anything on here. The main thing is making sure your head shape is right. You know what I mean? I can cut the chin back. I can do whatever I want. I can do whatever I want with this sculpture. Removing clay, adding clay, removing clay, adding clay. That's all you're doing. But why strip the whole? Why take all the clay off the armature? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, if you had wet clay, which is water-based clay, you have to take it off, because if you don't, it turns to, it just hardens. That clay hardens. This stuff never hardens. I can leave this on here for years, and because it's wax-based clay, as soon as it gets a little warm, as soon as you warm it up a little bit, dissolves in your hand, and it never hardens. It doesn't. It's just good stuff, man. It's really good stuff. I love it. So what I'm basically doing is I add a little clay and then I remove it to where I want it, and it's pretty good right where it's at. So almost there with this. Almost there with the eyes. Almost there with the lips. Just almost back to where it needs to be, except for the ears and the top of the head. Once I get that done, that's it. We're there, and I can start aging it. That's the next process, is aging it to the 2014 or 2018 version. Can't wait to get to that point where I'm aging it, because like I said, it's not going to be hard to do. It's not going to take long to do either. Not at all. Because all the work's there. So I'm not changing anything here. The only thing I'll be doing is adding the age process. So you're going to have this exact mask the way it is, aged to look like the 2018. Putting the little cracks, like the cracks all up down the eyes, down and then down into here, and then onto the lip, the cracks in here. You know, the crack that rides right, you know, down here. All right, and then down in this area. That's all gonna be there in this mask. So yeah. We're gonna have a nice 20 H40 mask out of this sculpture, and hopefully you collectors out there love what it looks like, and you go crazy and spend some money for it, you know. So more importantly, I have the honor of having my mask on your shelf, and because you're a true collector, it means a lot to us. You know, it means more to me that a collector buys my mask than it does the average person. You know, I'm not into this to just make money. I'm into this to, you know, make a mark, so to speak, at this age. You know, I don't know. Never would have thought I would have been doing this. I really never thought I would have gotten into doing this at this age. I thought, I don't have time for that now, and I kept my what I did for a living always kept me from doing this. Never really got to focus on my art as much as I do now. I love it though, you know, because it's just very important. Yeah, I think it's when people get older, you know, what are you going to be remembered for? You know, DJing? Oh, yeah, people will remember you, but they'll soon forget. Like, I don't ever hear, like, one of the DJs that I worked across the street from, the guy was famous. You know, he was Joe Bilby. But you don't hear people talk about him anymore. You don't hear anything, you know, you don't hear nothing, you know, at least I haven't. Maybe I'm not around the right circle of people, but you don't really hear people talking about that. Oh man, he was a great DJ, or he was this or that. It's just not tangible. This is something physical. It's there. You know, you buy it, you keep it for a long time. I'm 60 years old. If you bought a mask for me and it lasts 25 years, 30 years, if you really take care of it, you know, could last you 50 years. I'll be well into my grave by then, you know. It's just an honor to have somebody have my mask on their shelf. At least that's how I feel about it. Let's talk about taking care of a mask for a short period here. You get this latex, you get a latex mask. First of all, I like making my masks thick. Very thick. I don't like them real thin. Casted, meaning they're a thicker mask, they'll last longer, they'll hold up better. But even the thick masks can and will deteriorate if it's not maintained well. So, now the first thing you got to ask yourself is, am I going to wear this mask, or am I going to just put it on the shelf for display? All right, so if it's just a display piece, you don't have to worry about the interior too much. I would still keep, I use cornstarch, because I think it absorbs the best. It really absorbs moisture. So you keep the inside of your mask with cornstarch. The outside of the mask, you want UV protectant and something that's good for rubber. And I swear by Armor All. Armor All will, you know, you can spray that down and really, you know, I would lightly rub it. Don't want to rub away any of the paint or the, you know, the aging process that's in the paint. But anyway, to get to it, you want to make sure that you keep Armor All on the outside. I don't like sealing my paint jobs to the paint, because once you do that, you can't use the Armor All, because you put a protectant coating to cover the artwork. But now the mask won't hold up over time because you've sealed it with something that doesn't allow you to treat the rubber. With that being said, you know, it's a catch-22, but here's the thing. You can always find another artist to repaint your mask if it starts really getting, you know, like you've worn off the paint or whatever. You can get another artist to repaint it. I know it's not my paint job, but the honor is not the paint work for me. The honor is the actual sculpture, you know, that you have, that I love, you know. So, you know, that's my thing. So with that being said, you know, that's basically how I see this. You definitely want to make sure that you take care of your masks, because they are expensive. Don't get me wrong, but because of the amount of time that we spent on these, you know, you really can't sell them for less than $300. You really can't, you know, and make money. You know, especially with the shipping, the way shipping costs now. And I try to I try to include shipping whenever I send it, as long as it's within the United States. I don't like using flat rate, because if I use flat rate, it can distort the mask. I use a 12 by 12 box when I send off my masks, and I fill this thing with newspaper so it doesn't deform, it doesn't get crushed. Now, accidents happen. Shipping companies can damage the box. I can't control that kind of thing, but you see the box all damaged and everything, know that that's not how it left. That happened in shipping. Then first thing I would do is complain, and I would definitely seek to have your money reimbursed. That's for sure. Especially if the shipping, you know, was messed up. But the one thing about these latex masks, even if something like that does happen, the mask really doesn't get damaged, unless literally it was speared or something was really rigid and, you know, scraped the heck out of the mask or ripped the hair out or whatever, you know. That's a different story. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to call it a night. What do you think of the, okay, I can see I got to come out just a little bit more with the lip here. Actually, no. I have to figure that out. Maybe not. It's just an illusion, once again, getting the best of me. Yeah, that looks good, man. That really does. Just trying to feel this to make sure it's the right shape under the lip. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put the light on a better angle so I can see it. But as you can see, you see how tedious this is, on how little of clay that I'm actually pulling off and trying to keep this shape and its integrity. It's just time consuming, and this is why these masks cost quite a bit of money. You know, so next time somebody says, that mask doesn't look like it's worth $60. Well, it's an independent mask maker. know that he spent a good 8 months, whether it's good or bad. He spent 8 months, you know, anywhere from 5 to 8 months, sculpting his mask. Anybody that's really good in this business knows that you're not going to produce anything real good without putting the time in. You really have to put the time in. You have to put the time in. Nothing ever looks really good unless there's a lot of time spent. I'm definitely not going to gloss this, matte this down with naphtha yet, because I need to be able to see these imperfections as I'm going forward here. I need to be able to see this a little better. But I'm getting there. I'm getting back to what it was. Still got to work on the eyebrow. Still got some work to do here. I just still not liking it. Yeah, I'll get it though. I'll get it, guys. Don't worry. It'll look nice when it's done. I just want it back to what it was, the original piece. And when it's right then, you know, and I'm going to do a separate tutorial for the ears. That's just going to be focused on the ears, so you can see me repair the ear and in real time. But I want to say thanks for watching tonight, this morning, and you guys have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Peace. Sorry for the jerking around. I'll see you. Oh yeah. Yeah, I still got, I can see a couple things like in here that's dropping down just a little too much there. So I'm going to take away from the top of that just a little bit. I'll take away from the top of it. But anyway, I'll show you the progress as I go with this and bringing it back to what it was. You guys have a great week. Be careful. Stay safe. Love one another. Peace. See ya.